Baltimore and the early days and old school. We are Facebook friends, which allowed me last week to see him putting up live video of he and his family on some sort of Humvee Jeeps in South Africa, or as he says, the motherland of Kruger National Park. We welcome in D Starks 22 on Twitter and my pal and defending Super Bowl champion, as always, Dwayne Starks. Welcome back. Dude, you had a hell of a time in Africa, man. I'm seeing zebras running around, rhinoceroses. It was crazy over there, right?
That was amazing, man. It was something that I had never seen before. I mean, you can look at Animal Channel all you want to, but being up and close and being in their atmosphere, man, that is crazy. You know, and you're kind of free. I mean, the animals run around freely. I mean, you're not seeing them. You know, it's not migration time, I guess, but you see them sporadically around, walking around, and when you do, it's amazing.
Well, my wife wants to do that. That's her ultimate bucket list thing. We almost went in 2010 for the World Cup, but the finances went to hell. They were playing the World Cup in winter over there. The animals weren't as active, you know. So we're like, do we really want to go on a safari at the worst time? We probably want to go at the best time. And then she's had cancer twice, as you know, and now like it's her number one thing, and we just need to get her strong enough physically to be able to go do that. But I would tell you in the next 24 months, we're going to be running around Kruger National Park because I did all the research on it. I mean, was this years in the planning? I mean, was this something somebody in your family really pushed you to do, or was this your idea?
Yeah, I would say she's been wanting to go since a couple of friends of ours went 10 years ago. So it's been on the radar for 10 years. I mean, we took other trips elsewhere, you know, Sydney, Australia, Bangkok, you know, different places like that. But we finally did it, and she's, I mean, ecstatic because when we went to Kruger National Park, the first day we didn't see lions, and she's a Leo, so she definitely wanted to see a lion. And her next to last game drive, which they call, out in the jungle, at nighttime they found a lion chomping down on a wildebeest. So that made her day, and you know, it made me extra cool. I got cool points. So now I'll probably get a longer guys trip because I took her to Africa. So. That's cool, man. I mean, it was fun. She enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. It's just a must-do before anything else, man.
Life is good being an ex-player for you, isn't it? I mean, I know some of your teammates have struggled. We've lost some of your teammates and whatnot, and some of the coaches have gone on to the good life and gone on to the afterlife. But, you know, I watch your experience as a former player. You know, you've really made a lot of being a player in the National Football League, haven't you?
Man, I've done my best. You know, at the end of the day, I always treated football as a starting point for my life. You know, we went through high school, went through college, and you know, leaving the NFL was a different life. It was a different transition, and you know, I just had to live it up to the fullest. Not necessarily, and that doesn't mean like spending a lot of money. That means just enjoying life. You know, because like you say, we have so many friends. So many past teammates and coaches that has gone on to be with the Lord, or you know, and just moved on. And you know, I don't want to live my life and regret it later on. Or you know, if I'm gone tomorrow, I feel fine. You know, I'm going to be where I want to be, and I enjoy my life.
Dwayne Starks joining us here, Super Bowl 35 champion, and you can go Google that and find out if you're too young to remember, but I remember it every step of the way. You can find him at D Starks on Twitter. Let's talk some Ravens, man. I know you've been working for Comcast Sportsnet the last couple of years, and the rights are different this year. We've been seeing you on television. You've been a little more close in person with the team, and I've seen you around town a whole lot here when you're not down there in Miami doing the thing with your family, but you know, it's been a tough couple of years. I mean, we're used to playoffs around here. We're used to being at the top of the division. Team's been competitive, but not dominant in the way that it once was. You know, this has been an interesting offseason, I think, in a lot of ways. And I think that the Macklin thing that happened 2 weeks ago makes everybody feel better about the team, at least going into the summer break, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it makes them feel good, especially once you lose a guy like Smith. You know, that's kind of tough. You know, you have to find someone to replace him. I know Mike Wallace can't do it on his own, and I guess a guy who I really like and was surprised he didn't play a lot last year was Kamar Aiken, which they let him get away. But now you have a guy like Macklin that can actually make some guys miss and you know, put another threat on the deep ball as well as some, you know, experience running routes. So that should open some things up. And, from what I look at, you have Greg Roman is there now, and I guess he's going to be calling a lot, getting that running game together, which is going to be key to their success this year. I saw an article, him talking about being very unpredictable on offense. I guess he's realized what the offense was struggling with last year. They were very predictable. So I think there's going to be some good changes this year if he actually gets done what he wants to accomplish, with the Ravens. So that's going to be interesting.
Big year for Rashad Perryman, right? I mean, the injury the first year, kind of coming out a little bit last year, but the offense wasn't very good and wasn't putting the best down and distance, and he's trying to learn the game on the fly. But, I have learned that nobody out there has quit on him, even though the fans are a little down and he was a number 1 draft pick and we're all expecting miracles. I think he is an NFL receiver if he stays healthy. Now, whether he's going to be a difference maker, he needs to get out on the field, and this offense needs to give him an opportunity to be that.
That's true. I think he's in a position to actually step out this year. I mean, if he goes out and they work him, basically get him the ball and let him get comfortable. I think last year it seemed like he still had a little jitters from the injuries, but at the same time worked hard because he's a hard worker. And he went out there and he played well. And if they get him the ball and a little more experience, I think you'll see the change in his confidence, that he'll be out there with more swagger, who wants to play and wants the ball.
Well, I know
that you'll see some change in that this year.
In your day, they played some nickel and some dime and whatnot, but the nickel positions become so important. Every team needs to have one. They're on the field, 60, 70% of the time now. You're in a nickel package, and you play back on the back end in this league, and what 3 receivers and 4 receivers look like. I'm not telling you that you don't know. The secondary's been a problem here the last couple of years. If the secondary were stronger, the whole overall team would have been stronger. They would have won more games last year. Just if Jimmy Smith wouldn't have gotten injured last year, I believe they would have looked more competitive and they would have had a better record. They would have won more games, especially late in the games against the bigger receivers. The loss of Tavon Young, pretty enormous loss for spring camp for a guy that they really were seeing incredible strides made from a lower round draft pick who got on the field last year and excelled, and they were really counting on him this year. They don't really count on a second-year guy that way.
Yeah, I have to agree with you on the Tavon Young situation. I mean, this young guy, he came in, you can tell, he was fluent with his feet. He was able to make a lot of plays, get his hands on the ball, even as a young guy, and especially on third down. That is crucial. If you can't get off the field on third down, which he actually helped him a little bit last year, if you can't get off the field on third down, then you're in trouble. You're going to give up too many field goals. You're going to give up too many touchdowns, and you're going to run your defense tired. As of the corners on the outside, I wasn't impressed with them at all. I mean, I like to see Jimmy Smith play better, but, and I always tell people this. I had the opportunity to do the actual scouting intern there, and while I took advantage and talked to a few players, and Jimmy told me, like, hey, man, my situation was a little different than yours, or not making any excuses. But he was like, I didn't have the opportunity to come in here with any experienced players or any guys that I can actually look up to. I had to be that guy. And no one taught me some of the things that you're telling me right now, because I tried to give him a lot of pointers. He was very appreciative of it. I like him as a person. He's a great guy. And he can be a lot better if he had the right, right teacher or right the right person to tell him how to do things around there.
Well, and I think that's the hardest part for the adjustment on the back end for anyone in your position. And I don't think I'm telling any stories about you 20 years later. You struggled early on. You caught on kind of quickly and then went and made yourself a star, got yourself a ring and got yourself a contract and all that good stuff. But, it doesn't come easy out of the chute, I think, for anyone, and especially at the wide receiver and the back end on defense, because it is such an individual one-on-one, and you lose a battle there, or you drop a ball if you're on offense, or you cut a route short and a pick six happens because of you as a wide receiver. There's a lot of responsibility there along with a lot of freedom. But, I mean, it's nice when you pick one off in the Super Bowl and you're wagging your finger on the way in, but along the way there, everyone's going to get beaten, including Deion Sanders, right?
Oh, yeah, everyone's going to get beat. I mean, the thing is about being a corner, what I look for is playmakers. If you don't have a playmaker, you're not going to be a player. And you're not going to have a player that can actually change the status or the momentum of the game. So, in our case, with that defense we had a ton of playmakers. Myself and, from myself to Chris McAllister, from Rod Woodson, Corey Harris, all of those guys knew how to get their hands on the ball. And I think that's one thing that the Ravens were missing, which did not put their secondary on my top list of defensive backs. Weddle came out. He did a great job. I think he did a pretty good job coming over and helping the Ravens out. And just a matter of them being in better position would even change that even more, and help them out even more.
He is DStarks22 out on Twitter and a defending world champion from Super Bowl 35. We love having him on. He is Dwayne Starks. He's down in Miami enjoying the summer after spending some time out in South Africa. Talk a little football here with Dwayne. And what are you excited about with the Ravens? I mean, give me a scenario in your mind that they win 11 or 12 games this year, kind of shock the world.
I think it will shock the world if they win that many games. It's just a matter of, can they get the running game established, and can they, stay unpredictable? Last year we recording the games and watching the games, it was pretty. At some point, they just went back to the old routine, and everything was predictable. I can tell what play they were going to run, when they were going to run it, and it was kind of depressing in a sense. Me and Brad, we talked about it. Chris Miller, who was on the show with us as well, we talked about that a lot. And it was a recurring situation, especially with the losses.
Always good to catch up with you, man. What are you doing to stay busy these days besides chasing lions and tigers and bears through the Kruger National Park jungle out there?
Right. Well, I'm actually working with the Players Trust, which is actually powered by the NFLPA. We go around, I'm the South Florida regional captain, so I'm in charge of Florida and any other places possible in Baltimore. We go around engaging the former players and letting them know about their benefits when it comes to continuing education, brain and body, with their health, financial literacy type things, where we can hook them up with mentors that can actually keep them on a budget or either help them out if they want to be an entrepreneur when it comes to starting businesses. So it's a lot of different programs that we have and affiliates that we're affiliated with, and we try to connect those former players with those companies to make sure that they have a better transition after they're done playing football.
Yeah, I hate the sad stories, Dwayne. I mean, I see them at the Super Bowl every year where, guys are having some problems, some CTE issues, and I know the Players Association is up on that. I'm sure you have been exposed to that, even guys your age at this point, having some struggles later in life. And I think it's nice that some of the guys like you and the league and the players, everybody's stepping up. It is an embarrassment to the league when these things happen, but I also think it's sort of endemic in football, right? I mean, it's a tough game. You know that. You played it.
I mean, they worked a lot of things out with the collective bargaining agreement to try to make sure those things are changing. But at the same time, it is sad, that things have to get to an extreme in some cases to get to this point where they want to do something about it. But now, as by them creating the Players Trust, it really helps guys to understand what's going on with their bodies and, getting the free exams from the Cleveland Clinic and other affiliates like Tulane and Massachusetts, UMass, so guys can go in and get a complete physical and try to get help before they actually go through those rough symptoms.
Dwayne, it's been 20 years. I know it's hard to believe, but I always appreciate your return. It has been, man. We're both getting older here now. I think there's any doubt about it. I'll send everybody out to follow you out on Twitter. Hope you have a great summer down there, and maybe one day you and me and some stone crabs down there somewhere in Miami Beach. What do you think?
Oh, man, that sounds good. This is around that time, isn't it?
I hope so. Hey, I'm coming down in a couple weeks. I'll be there for the All-Star game in July. Luke and I are going to broadcast from down there. The All-Star game's in Miami, so we will be down there. So start icing them down. Tell them I'm ready for some stone crabs when I get there in 2 weeks.
All right.
We'll see you later. DStarks22, my man Dwayne Starks from the Super Bowl champion 35 team back in 2001. Hard to believe it's been 16 years, and Dwayne still looks younger than me, which is fine. You can find me out at the Buy Toyota Audio Vault 24 hours a day from anywhere in the world on your mobile device by downloading the TuneIn Radio app. We do come in crystal clear from wherever you are, including Miami, even down to the Keys if you want to. You can find us there. Don't forget, the morning newspaper does ship to your email inbox each and every morning. That is powered up by Planet Fitness at planetfitness.com. That is $10 a month, anytime, anywhere. You got a Planet Fitness right around the corner from you. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Last but never least, breaking news happens first on our WNST tech service. That is all brought to you by our friends at Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. If the Orioles have the shuttle going back and forth to Norfolk, you will get it first. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Snapchat, Instagram, and streaming live on our Facebook Live as well as our YouTube WNSTV channel. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.